Alright folks, it's finally here. The Bond Arms Roughneck Derringer. And it's dirty. I'm going to clean it up here in a minute before I do too much video. I wanted to show y'all this and tell y'all about it because I have gotten tons and tons of interest in this and people asking for a review. So I've had it for a year now, and yeah, I'll give you guys a review. Alright folks, I'm going to try to answer some of the questions I've gotten in these shorts on the Bond Arms Derringer. I'd like to take a minute to thank everybody who's watched these shorts and commented on them and asked questions. Since I've started making this video, those two shorts have gone over 250,000 views, which absolutely blows my mind. And thank you. And I'm going to answer them in a way that I understand them to be. And after I've fired this firearm, I've shot this little thing over 200 times since I've had it, which isn't a huge amount, but it's quite a bit for a Derringer. That means I've loaded it 100 times. And like everything you'll ever see on this channel, everything is safety checked before we talk about it. And yeah, I've got a pretty good bit of experience with this Derringer so far. And yeah, anyway, on to the questions. By far, number one question I've gotten is probably the one that's going to take the longest to answer is why a Derringer? And it's a pretty good question. A Derringer, when I was making up my mind to buy this, you can look up national averages in the United States, and most self-defense uses of a firearm, in most cases, there are 1 to 3 rounds fired, and the vast majority of them are 2 rounds or less. And so a 2-shot Derringer falls into that. I wanted a firearm that was small enough I can drop in my pocket. And as you can tell, I can hide this whole pistol with my hand. And it easily fits into a pocket. I would suggest when you drop it in your pocket, maybe have some sort of leather slip or some sort of slip, because if you drop it in your pocket down like this sight and the end of this gun will wear holes in your pockets. Built a little real simple pocket holster out of leather, and that's the way I've carried it. Since then, I've made a couple slits in the back, and I'm carrying it on my belt some, but still mostly in my pocket. All right, the reason for a Derringer is when it comes to firearms you can drop in your pocket. North American Arms makes a 22 revolver. You get it in 22, many variations of 22 caliber, from 22 caliber long rifles, 22 Magnum, and so forth, and it's small enough to fit in a pocket, so it fit the bill. And I was really shopping for those, and I narrowed it down really to the Bond Arms Derringer or the North American Arms 22 Magnum, because I wanted the Magnum, the 22 Magnum, so I'd have enough power in case you ever need it. And I say in case you ever need the power, and this might upset some people, but it's not me. I mean, this is actual facts. So you can probably still find the videos on YouTube. I know some of them were taken down because they were kind of, in YouTube's vision, they were risque. But another firearm that fits into this category will be like a small Taurus TCP, or Ruger makes a small 380. Now, there have been testing done, and like I say, I know there were some YouTube videos on it where 380 rounds were fired into a test dummy with one of those heavy Carhartt jackets on, and the rounds didn't penetrate the Carhartt jacket. Now, you stop right there, and this is where you need to think. Why are you carrying? You're carrying for self-defense. Defend yourself, defend the innocent bystanders, your family, and you have to ask yourself that. Okay, that's the reasons I carry. If, God forbid, I ever have to use this firearm, I want it to be effective. Okay, and the vast majority of self-defense encounters are 2 rounds or less. Every now and then they go into 3. The vast majority is 2. All right. A huge number of people carry 380s. And from the research I did, a 380 caliber pistol is used in roughly 40% of those encounters. Okay. So my thinking is, if you use this 380 in those encounters, and this is the pistol that would not penetrate a Carhartt jacket, and you take those out of the equation, out of the math, then you're looking at 45 ACP, 9mm, 357, 38, your average carry rounds. And I believe that's where you get into the 2 rounds and under. Yes, when you get into a pistol like the 380 or 22 Magnum, that's when you may need to go over 2 rounds. Maybe the accuracy isn't there, the marksmanship isn't there, and there's a lot goes into this. I mean, if you have to pull a weapon, that is a stressful time. I'm by no means an expert in any of this. Why the Derringer? I wanted something with the power needed, the stopping power I need. And again, God forbid, I hope I die an old man of old age with the same 2 rounds still in this gun that I carry it in. It to have the power I need, and I want it to fit in my pocket. And 2 rounds seems legit to me. But those are the predominant reasons why I decided to go with a Derringer. Why did I decide to go with this Derringer? This Derringer, as you can tell by the star on the handles, it's made in the United States in Granbury, Texas. And it's an American-made product, and it is built like a tank. I wanted something that was built really well in self-defense. And remember, this thing's been safety checked. I'll show you again. But in self-defense, if I pull this firearm, and I have 357 Magnum rounds in this little gun, I don't want it to have the kind of recoil that you can't manage. Now, I'm a big guy, and I'm really not recoil sensitive. It's not to say that, oh, I'm a tough man, I don't feel recoil. Everybody feels recoil, I don't care what they say. But when you get into this thing, it's built like a little tank. I mean, you can tell by the size and the dimensions of this little pistol. It's built like a tank. So when you throw this out and you squeeze off the rounds, and say you have it loaded with 357 Magnum rounds, there is weight on this gun, but it's not heavy. For its size, the size to weight ratio helps it eat a lot of that recoil. Now, a 357 round, a lot of your powder, as it burns, is going to burn outside the barrel. So you have a very, very short barrel. And let me show you, this is a 38. So you see how much barrel that you have for that bullet to travel down. And even with the 38s, this thing throws a pretty wild fireball. So you're not going to get, like if you were carrying a 6-inch barrel revolver, you're not going to get the speed out of the end of the barrel that you would with one of those. But that's not what this gun is designed for. This pistol is designed as a get-off-me weapon. A lot of people complain about the accuracy of the Derringers. Now, I'll tell you, if you draw a line and you measure off 40 yards and hang a target up, you're going to be sorely disappointed in the accuracy of this. This is made for somebody is on you. I have read in places where the effective range, accurate range, is 15 feet. Okay. I'll also carry this firearm during hunting season, and maybe it's going to be like a backup. It's not going to be my primary. Where I hunt, there are a lot of black bears. I've never had a problem with a black. I've been bluff charged twice in 55 years. They never came close to me, but they scared the bejesus out of me. They're either a 10 millimeter or my Smith 40 cal with plus P ammo and the heaviest grain full metal jacket psych ammo, because you want to break bone, you want to cause damage. You're not worried about tissue and whatnot. But this will be my backup for that as well. And when we shoot it, you're going to see. You're going to see what the ballistics look like, and you're going to see some stuff that the bullets do that might turn you off, might not. But anyway, that's that. Another question I got has been, and it's been coming from outside the country a lot. I have a lot of viewers in Brazil. I appreciate you guys too, you know. But they'll ask, is this legal in my country? Where can I get one? Well, straight up, I live in the state of South Carolina, and I purchased this at Academy Sports. Okay? I can't tell you if you live in Brazil where you can buy it, if it's legal where you live, and that goes for inside the United States too. Anytime you plan on buying a concealed weapon or any kind of weapon, you need to check the rules and regulations and laws in your area, your state, city, county, province, wherever you're at. And I hate to sound like I'm giving a vague answer, but there are so many different answers to that question that it's darn near impossible to give a definitive answer for everybody right here. All right, another popular question I get is basically, can I make it fire one barrel at a time instead of both barrels? Well, this particular pistol will only fire one barrel at a time. All right, and to go into another question I've gotten a lot, which barrel fires first? It's when you load this pistol and you close it, whichever barrel had fired the last round, the other one will fire next. So let's say the last round you fired came out of the top barrel. When you load this thing, you put it in your pocket or your holster and you pull it out and you squeeze the trigger. If you had fired the top barrel last, it don't matter if you've reloaded and cleaned it 100 times, then the bottom barrel is going to be the next one it fires. It will only fire one barrel at a time, and there's no way you can make it fire both barrels at the same time. Another thing I want to throw in right quick is these little things, if you like getting into modding and making it, you know, special for you or whatnot, changing grips and holsters and all that kind of stuff, Bond Arms, and you can go on eBay. There's a lot of people who 3D print more grips for these. I've been looking at a big fat orange grip, because you know, being orange. Quite a few accessories available for these, but yeah, that was another question. Can I get accessories for it? What will it fire? And it's written on right on the gun. It will fire 38 Special or 357 Magnum. And the Bond Arms website and the papers that came with the gun said you can fire pretty much anything in it. I've been shooting 38 Special plus P, 38 Special that's not plus P, 357 Magnum, and in many different forms, like such as this. This is just a standard round nose lead 38 Special. And the bulk of ammo that I fired through this gun, this is what it's been. I still not fired a full metal jacket through it, so you know, I don't know if that's going to make any difference. When I carry this gun with 38 Special in it. I'm carrying with the Hornady Critical Defense with the little polymer tips in there. It's kind of like a ballistic tip, but it's more like rubber. And underneath this rubber is like a little tungsten pin, and on contact, that tungsten pin pushes back and helps open up the bullet. And this is a plus P round, and it's pretty hot. You can definitely tell a difference when you fire this thing in twilight or at night. The difference in the fireball that comes out the end of the barrel. Because remember, the barrel's short, and it's not going to burn up all of the powder before it comes out. And the other one that I've been shooting is 357 Magnum jacketed hollow points. And I have shot, well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 9 rounds of this in here, and it was a 25 round box. So I've shot 14 rounds of this total, and everything else has been 38. And like I say, I've shot over 200 rounds out of this gun. You would think that the 357 Magnum hits a different powder. I'll make sure the rims are lined up even, but it's a different powder and there's more of it. And you would think that the recoil would be substantially more with the 357 than it is the 38 Special. It's not. You can tell a difference, but it's not bad at all. I have talked to people, and people feel recoil differently. You know, like people that haven't shot a lot of firearms, they may shoot this with 38 Special and say, "Oh my gosh, the recoil," or kick, you know. And but that's not what I found. When I shoot this with a 38 Special round in it, it feels just like my Glock 19. It's about that kind of recoil. When I shoot it with the 357 in there, it feels like those hot 40 caliber Smith & Wessons that I take with me when I go hunting, in case I ever run across a black bear that don't want to leave me alone. But the recoil is extremely manageable. It is so manageable. My wife has shot with the 357 Magnum, my daughter, and it's there. You know, of course, a 357 Magnum bullet and this little pistol, it's going to jump, but it's not anywhere near what you think it will be. I would suggest, if you know somebody that's got one, a lot of ranges you can go to, and they have all kind of different firearms that you can shoot. And if you're really worried or you're really susceptible to recoil, I'd suggest you try one out before you buy it. But yeah, if you want to run 38 Special in this, which is really all that you'll ever need, most of the time I have 357 Magnum in here, but I would feel really just as comfortable with 357 plus P. Yeah, 350 or 38 Special, it's going to be pretty much like a Glock 19. All right, well, another question that I'm looking, I got many questions on, and I answered them all in comments. But if this is your first time here, first, welcome, appreciate you. This gun at Academy Sports in South Carolina was $259. That's the average price, not on sale, anything like that. And I'm just going to point this out. The way this thing is built, if you look at it, like I was telling you, it's a little tank. It's like everything in Texas. They do it big out there. It's a little tank, and this is like an heirloom piece. I could see my great-great-grandkids owning the same firearm, and it'd be just as good as it is today. It's all stainless. It ain't gonna rust. And like, I wiped it down a little bit, but you're probably, and it's still safety checked. I pulled the hammer back. There's still some dust and stuff down in there from carrying your pocket lint and things. But yes, it's a really heavy-duty firearm. And to be honest, of all the firearms I have, some are much more than $259, some less. This is probably one of the best $259 investments that I think I've ever made. Okay, I think with the mix and the combining a lot of questions into everything, I've kind of answered everything that's been asked. like when I was talking about the difference in the rounds. Do you suggest 38 Special, 357 Magnum? Well, it's up to you. If you don't like any recoil, 38 Special's fine. You know, if you don't mind a little bit of recoil, 357 Magnum. But again, you know, that's going to be up to each individual person. All right, we're about to go out there and we're going to send some rounds down range, which is always the fun part. But this firearm is meant for up close and personal, okay? This is not a target weapon, all right? You see the giant front sight on here? That is so you can quick. I mean, it's close, it's personal. When I fire a lot of these slower rounds, 9+P rounds, just plain old lead round nose bullets, I get a lot of clean tears in paper. But occasionally, I'll get one that it goes through the paper like this. Well, just the lead part. And that's called keyholing. Your bullet's tumbling. Because you got to remember, your barrel is tiny. Anywhere near as much tumbling with the 357 Magnum bullets. And like I say, I shoot jacketed hollow points. There's not nowhere near as much. And to this date, the +P Hornady Critical Defense, I have not noticed, I have never seen a single bullet tumble and leave a keyhole. That has been something I've heard a lot in YouTube videos. I've heard a lot of discussion about it, and I've been asked questions about it. All right, the simple point I'm going to make is this. If somebody is within your safety bubble, say, and you feel compelled that your life is in danger, now I don't see a problem in my world if you're firing bullets, and I shoot this firearm at 10 to 15 feet. That's the only distance I ever shoot it. I want to be proficient at that, and that is bringing it out. And most of the time I can, anywhere from my hip and anywhere in between up to my eye, I can hit a silhouette target at 10 to 15 feet, because that's what you're talking about. You know, this is, like I say, get off me. All right. I don't see a single problem in the world if a bullet's tumbling. If this bullet is 38 caliber coming at you, and you turn it sideways, and all of a sudden it's 50 caliber, I kind of like that idea. In close range, tumbling bullets don't affect me whatsoever. All right, I think I've kind of answered all the questions and told you kind of what I think about the, you know, the gun. This gun has been very reliable. It has not misfired one time. I've had some cheap ammo in it, and I've had really good ammo in it. The Hornady Critical Defense and the +P 38 Special. And these, the 357 Magnum jacketed hollow points, are Remington rounds, saber rounds, golden saber rounds. And yeah, I'm happy with them. I haven't shot anything yet that at 10 or 15 yards I couldn't keep in a silhouette target, and in the vital area of the silhouette target. I hate shooting silhouette targets because that's the last thing in the world I ever hope I have to do. But you gotta, especially the world we live in now, you gotta prepare yourself for that possibility and just pray it never happens. But yep, I reckon now we'll go outside. It's getting late at night now. It's probably going to be tomorrow, but you won't know the difference because it's going to go click, click, done. But we're going to go outside and we're going to fire a few rounds of each round of ammo into some paper. I'm going to show you what it does. And I'm probably going to put the camera up at a side angle with just looking at my hand and the firearm, so that you can kind of judge the fireball and you can see kind of the recoil. But just keep in mind, you know, that I am a big guy. I'm 6'5", 268 pounds. So if you're 5'7", 140 pounds, it might affect you differently. I don't want to tell you it won't or it will. Like I say, I would suggest you try it out before you buy it if you're a smaller person or if you're susceptible to recoil. But we're going to go out and we're going to fire 2-4 rounds of each kind of ammo so you guys can see what it does. And yep. All right, before we go too far, I just want to take just a second to show you the simple operation of the firearm. This lever here on the side, you pull it down, the barrels come up, load your barrels obviously, close it. After you fire, you pull it up, and this is your ejector. So you pull that back, it kicks the bullets out. When you push more bullets in, it'll slide it back forward. Super simple. The safety mechanism on this is a single action. You have to pull the hammer back, and when you do so, one thing, you push in the safety, and like all firearms, if you look right here, red, you're dead. So you push that in where you don't see the red at all, and it becomes a hammer block safety. And I'll show you what happens with a hammer block safety. You squeeze the trigger, it never gets close to the firing pin. You pull the hammer back, and I like this. It seems counterintuitive, but it's easy to get used to. With this gun, you push with your thumb, all right, to the offside because it's ergonomically designed that way, and it's so much easier than trying to pull your finger up here and look for the safety. Your safety's already on, and when you get ready to kick it off, your gun's this way, you push your safety in because your thumb's already right there at it. That's pretty smart thinking. It takes a little getting used to the gun. After you load it 3 or 4 times and fire it, you'll be proficient at it, and then you're ready to rock and roll. But it's a real simple firearm to take apart and clean. There's really not a lot to take apart. I have popped the pins out right here. Oh, you can see it right there. Popped the pins right out there and taken all this off and cleaned it out down in there a couple of times, but it really don't get that dirty. It's mainly so you can get into the trigger and everything. But everything, all the business stuff, is you just crack this open, clean out your barrels, clean down in here. I like to drop a couple of drops of oil on the firing pin. That's just me. And a few drops of oil down in the trigger mechanism, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now let's talk about the rest of this thing, shall we? Yeah, actually right now. We're outside, folks. Hey, I guess you'd have guessed. Put this up in my little pistole range, and I have a circle drawn in here to indicate the vital area. But my Sharpie was about dried out, so it didn't show up real good. But I'll show y'all close up when we get done. I used me for the vital area. This is the aforementioned little pocket slip I made. I made it with this horn, so to speak, on it, so when you grab the gun and pull it, this hooks in your pocket and nothing comes out but the gun. But I wet formed it, as you can tell, so it has way too much retention. Dang near pull your britches off trying to get this thing. You give yourself a wedgie if you ain't careful. So, to fix that, I thought, I removed one of the brads. It's bradded and sewn. And removing that brad, let it come open a little more. Still has a little too much retention for a pocket sheath holster. So I'm going to make another one that's just an envelope for it to sit down in and not wet form it or anything. But for this one, for the time being, I did this on the back side, punched 4 holes and cut between them, and I just made like a little belt attachment. Might add, it works out pretty good as a belt carry. It's my old backside of my old barn over there off in the woods. But I'm going to start off with this thing with just regular round nose, not plus P ammo. I did it again. Not plus P, just regular ammo. It don't have any P's. This is going to be about 15 feet away. Well, 15 feet is the way I measured with these. These are size 14, so it's probably about 17 feet. I don't know. It's about there. But, yeah. Say this would be really the maximum distance a get off me gun is ever going to be effective.
Let's let that dog eat. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm. Let's go. Wait a minute. I'm going to tell y'all something. Make it safe. Now, I just want to tell y'all right quick. When you bring this gun to bear, see, even keeping your finger off the trigger, you see where the tip of my finger is? And I have huge hands. If you have big hands, you need to practice with this thing and be cognizant of what you're doing. Because when you place that second hand on here in a firm grip, you see what I'm getting at? That could be really bad. So practice. Be careful getting used to it. In fact, most of my practice is done shooting one-handed for that reason. And to be honest, in this distance, you can be just as accurate with one hand as you are two. In fact, I think I'm going to shoot it one hand to show you. Range hot. You hear that, crows? Don't talk back. Let me take this time to tell you fellers and fellerettes, whenever you're shooting, I know if you're a responsible gun owner and shooter, you know this, make sure of what's beyond your target. Here, I'm standing in an elevated position and I'm shooting down toward my creek bed and I can see anywhere these bullets are gonna go. And just if somebody were to happen to walk through the woods, A, they'd be trespassing, but B, you don't want no accidents. So remember, safety first, second, and third. Now let's go look at our results. Yeah. All right, first I want to tell you fellers and fellerettes something. I aimed center mass low on one, and I aimed high left on the other. The reason being, in case one of these bullets did a tumble and a keyhole, I wanted to know which barrel it was. The top barrel was the low round, the bottom barrel was the high round. Let's take a look. All right, there's the low round, and I was aiming right in here. So I was about 2 to 3 inches low left. But as you can see, I got a perfect hole. Now this one up here, as you can see, it was within a couple inches of where I was aiming, but you see the hole? Yep, it keyholed. Now by that keyhole, when the bullet comes out of the barrel is so short and there's so much explosive gas coming out that it pushes the bullet one way or the other, and the bullet tumbling. And that when it hit sideways. Now let me show y'all something else while I'm talking. Now remember, we're talking at very close range. Do you think this is the more effective hole, or this is the more effective hole? That's why the keyholing with this particular gun. Now, if it were in, my Glock or many other guns, one of my rifles that I shoot 300 or 400 yards with, I would, tumbling is an issue. This gun, I think it's actually kind of a bonus. Right, as you can tell, the firing pin hits these primers really hard. And I have never had a misfire on this gun. Never. Watch, now that I said that, I'll have a misfire. I'm sweating again. Let me wipe that off. It's for you, Mike. All right, the next rounds we're going to fire at this bad boy. They're going to be the Hornady Critical Defense Plus P ammo. So you got a good bit more powder. And let me go ahead and state it up front. I would love to be doing this video like at twilight or something so I can still see down in the woods and make sure everything's safe. But it's a little darker because the fireball is beautiful. I marked my holes with my dried up Sharpie marker. You can see the little light black square and a little light black circle. So we don't get them confused, as we go. All right, here is the Hornady Critical Defense 38 Special Plus P. This is where the fireballs start, man. I hate it ain't dark. One hand, just to show y'all that the kick is not stupid like people tell you. I aim dead center mass and hit dead center mass. Once again, I aimed a little high and hit about where I was aiming, so forth, so on. And once again, I'm doing this so we don't get the barrels mixed up to tell keyholing. And the results are holding dead center on this one, dead center. And you can see the bullet did not go through there straight. There was a tiny bit of tumble to it. Now up to the other one, it relatively where I was holding, and got a pretty good hole out of that one. You know what the thing is? The keyhole on the first one and the keyhole on the second was two different barrels. So you never really know. It's unusual to get a keyhole out of a plus P round, but that's where we is. But I'll show you something. It's hard to make out my vitals that I got drawn on there. All four of those rounds, boiler room. I use my dry lip Sharpie to mark those two holes as well. And then I use my dry lip Sharpie to make me a target. I'm gonna hold on this one for both rounds with the 357 Magnum rounds. And once again, these are 357 jacketed hollow points. And these are the hottest rounds that I've found so far. I didn't really look too hard, but the hottest rounds I found so far. So I'd have a 357 Magnum option for this pistol. Dang, sweating again. Hang on, Mike, I've got to wipe this off. Fresh as a daisy again. I cannot own a clean hat. It's my favorite hat, my Bucky's hat. Went down there a while ago to do a little scouting around before I shot. I don't know. Anyway, 357 Magnum jacketed hollow points. Y'all ready? This will be a good fireball if it was dark. Range hot. About to shoot. One hand, just so you guys can gauge the amount of recoil. That was loud. Hang on. Ring my bell, ring my bell. Yeah. All right, that should make y'all understand that it's real important to wear your earphones or your hearing protection. Hang on. Sorry, I realized I was yelling. Make sure you wear your hearing protection. This 357 Magnum round, I don't know how it's gonna come through on video, is loud. Do that with any gun. These things are important. And now I hear Teletubbies going beep in my left ear. Range is hot. That was better. All right, I can tell y'all right off that second shot was kind of me because I kind of right before the shot. And you see the video, the recoil's not that bad. It really ain't. But I pulled the second one. But anyway, it's still a very effective shot. That was the mark I made. And there's the hole, first round. You see how pretty and clean that hole is, a little star. And the second shot was just a little over an index finger away, but I know I pulled that one. But see how pretty that hole is? So that's at 15 feet, and I never practice with this gun beyond 15 feet. Because I know if it goes out 20, 25, 30 feet, I'm relatively gonna be where I'm at. But what you just saw, now I will carry with a 38 special round. I do sometimes, especially if I just got a new box of 357 rounds. But for a while I carried the Hornady Critical Defense Plus P. But you see the difference in the rounds? Both the cheap round nose lead ammo and the Critical Defense had a tumbler out of two different barrels, all right? And then you see the 357 Magnum, zero tumble. You get a fireball that looks like it'll reach out there 2 feet, and you don't use all the powder. Half the powder probably burns outside the barrel. But what you do have going on in there, it shoots straight, it shoots flat, and I I've never gotten a key before today. I'll admit, I've fired a few practice rounds before this, and the critical defense, I got no keyholes, and that's like a box and a half of ammo, so 25 rounds plus say 10, 12 rounds. Never gotten a keyhole until that one right there. Oh, dang sweat. Hang on, Mike. This is a daisy again. But what I get out of this, I still have never gotten a key, or I've never gotten an uneven tear out of 357 Magnum out of this Bond Arms Derringer. And that's why my preferred round to carry in it is that round, the jacketed hollow point 357 Magnum. Before we go on, safety check. That's important. Be safe, fellers and fellerettes, and wear your hearing protection, you know what I'm saying? Probably giving away my final assessment and the previous parts where I was in the shop. I ain't gonna stop it this time, Mike. I'm just gonna wipe the sweat away. But I've given away my assessment. I love this pistol. It is a cannon. You judge for yourself. You know, if you pull and you hold it with both hands, surely, you know, I did it with one hand with zero problems. And I'm sure, unless you're really small, a weaker, that don't sound good, you're not as stout or whatever, you're not going to have a problem with this gun. You know, it's Bond Arms, USA made. Merca, baby. Yeah, you know, Merca. Not only is it Merca made, it's made in Texas. You know, down there, real gunslinger Cal, where he lives. Yeah, Texas. So I've asked myself, hey, think real hard. Is there anything I've spent $259 on that I'm as pleased with as this? You know, keep it where you know, in relativity. I'm talking about a car or something. I'm talking about, you know. Basically, is this gun worth it? I feel 100% jam up and jelly tight guaranteed from the Hunting for Hookers channel. I'm not going to try that because, yeah. This is an awesome gun. You look at that. It is a tank. And like I told you, I see you guys thinking it's safety check. So, you know, cornbread ain't stupid. I might be deaf if I don't keep my hearing protection in, but I ain't stupid. Oh, my goodness. If you happen to drop it, you don't have too much to worry about. Clean her up. Yep, she's all right. Hope y'all got something out of this. If you've been thinking about a Bond Arms Derringer, they make it bunches of variation. You can get it in a 45 long. I mean, you just go to their website, you know. Maybe email them and say, oh, cornbread at Hunt for Hookers sent you, you know, so they'll know somebody's out there speaking for them. You know, you can tell them if they're not too much against it, and send me a sticker for sticker board. That'd be cool. If y'all got something out of this test, I'm glad. If you decide to buy one of these pistols, I don't think there's any chance you're going to go wrong. And, well, that depends on the person and what you want. Everybody's different. For me, I'd do it all over again. In fact, I'm thinking about doing it all over again. If y'all got something out of this video, I'd appreciate if you'd smash that like button. And, you know, if you want to, subscribe. You know, if you don't, I ain't going to hold it against you. It ain't like I'm going to hunt you down or something, you know. And leave a comment. But let me ask you something. My last video, I had some big time wordy dirt comments in. And we don't do that because there's a lot of ladies and young kids that watch this channel. And yeah, we won't keep that out of here. No vulgar, profane, and this. If you think I'm an idiot, fine. Say you're an idiot. I don't care. I'm thick-skinned. I want you to know, above all, I love you. God loves you. He sent his son Jesus to die for you. Think about it. Even if you don't agree, think about it. And I appreciate y'all watching this video. And until I get to talk to you fellers and fellerettes again, I hope you have a great day, great night, great week, whenever you're watching this here video. And until next time, peace and God bless you. Ring my bell, ring
Bye, Bill.